Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko with you here, along with Tariq Spence in the middle. Hey, Tariq.
Hey, good to be back on the show. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Kevin Oklobzija joins us again. Pat Duffy taking the week off. Kev, nice to have you back.
Great to be here again. Kind of becoming a regular. That's not good for you guys.
All right, you said it, we didn't. Tariq, let's talk a little baseball. They're muddling through the games. You're seeing the Yankees and the Mets are kind of at polar opposites right now. Which you put more stock into? What we're seeing from the Yankees or what we're seeing from your New York Mets?
More what we're seeing from the Yankees. I'll get to the Mets in a minute because they are continuing dumpster fire that seems to find a way to blow games. But let's go to the Yankees. What Aaron Judge is doing is amazing. Garrett Cole is doing a great job, obviously, for him coming in and setting the tone as the ace of the Yankees. They look like a well-oiled machine with so many problems that they've got to send young players down. So it looks like the Yankees are on full cylinder mode. They're ready to go. I hope they don't peak too early and they can continue this ride. And I hope that COVID doesn't come into play for them later on down the line. What I've noticed is a lot of things that have hampered teams like the Marlins. Basically, Derek Jeter is saying that they don't have any discipline. They basically couldn't discipline themselves enough to keep themselves out of COVID. So hopefully that is something that doesn't arrive at Yankee camp. Maybe a postponement due to a team that may have come in contact with them. But their pitching is amazing. Their bullpen looks great. They probably, as we're talking about this, they've only lost in one game. And right now, Judge is doing a great job and playing extremely well. So they're kicking on all cylinders.
Well, let's toss it over to Kevin. What do you think? As I see it, too, the way they expanded the playoffs, the real threat to the Yankees is that best-of-3 series that comes right in the first round, because there's not a team in baseball that can't beat any other team in baseball 2 out of 3.
Well, unless they get the Twins. They just own the Twins, so that's like a bye in the playoffs. This will sound goofy, and nobody's probably going to agree with me. I find the Yankees somewhat unwatchable. I think it's boring. They hit home runs. They strike out. Their pitching's fine. I don't mind that part. But from an offensive standpoint, I don't want to see 9 home runs a game. I find it almost boring. Give me some action. I watched the Twins Pirates on Tuesday afternoon. Twice, Eddie Rosario beat the shift on a drawn-in infield by just slapping the ball the other way. A little flick of the wrist between the shortstop and second base, and it scores runs both times. Another time, Sano hit a ball down the left field line. The Yankees, they just hit balls 450 feet. To me, it's like what the PGA had to do with their golf courses to play major tournaments. They had to lengthen them all. So let's push, especially Yankee Stadium. Oh, my goodness. Let's push the fences back. I mean, I don't find it fun. I don't find it entertaining. I'm very much in the negative or minority here, but I just don't find it entertaining.
You want something entertaining? It's called the Mets bullpen. Okay, you watch the Mets take a 5-run lead into the last 3 innings, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, whatever one you want to pick, and see how they blow the games. Now that, my friend, is entertainment. Trust me, the Mets this season with Cespedes basically opting out, he's saying it's COVID reasons. We know why. It's basically he hasn't been getting the playing time, and he was basically on an incentive deal anyway. Nobody knows who's closing for the Mets. Nobody knows who's going to hit for the Mets. And they've got one Cy Young award-winning pitcher in DeGrom, and he goes out there, and if he leaves that mound, it's just as likely they could lose. So the Mets, to me, haven't solved their issues yet. Cano gets hurt again when he starts hitting. It is quite the opposite. Yet I still believe they can be a 500 team this season.
I keep thinking the Mets are on their way. I mean, I don't know how many years I've thought this, but they're finally on their way. They had the starting rotation, and now it's still there in some regards, but maybe they need the 7-inning doubleheaders. They need some rainouts so their starters can just take care of the game and never get to the bullpen.
Speaking exactly of what I want, doubleheaders for the Mets. They'll win both games because they won't have to go to the bullpen.
Or go to 7-inning single games. Kevin, one last thing. I know you and I have talked about this for a couple of years now. This whole runner at second base thing in the extra innings that they're playing now in the major leagues, you put a runner at second to start the extra innings. That seems to be gaining traction. There's general managers in the league that say they like it. The more they see it, the more they like it. I'm hearing this might be here to stay.
So it's just like watching AAA baseball then. I don't like it. I mean, it's too gimmicky. It's too little league-ish. It's too, we have a time limit, so let's get out of here and we'll start a guy on second. I don't like it. I mean, it's not baseball to me, but what do I know?
You care, Tariq?
I do, because baseball has a length issue. It's too long. And I think if this is a way to sort of shorten up these games, not have these 14-inning games.
To me, it's not something I want to stay or want to see stay.
We are the Rochester Press Box, talking Buffalo Bills next.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay and Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. We are the Rochester Press Box, Bill, Tariq, and Kevin. Kevin, the Buffalo Bills lost another player on the opt-out and an injury in the offensive line. But with all the players that have been opting out of the NFL, if you play the numbers game, the Bills are actually kind of ahead of things, losing only 3 guys.
Yeah, and I would assume some will, as this season gets closer, there may be more that opt out. But I think I think a lot of players in the NFL are watching what's happening in Major League Baseball. It's working in the NBA and it's working in the NHL because they're within their own little bubble. Major League Baseball's, they're within a region, but they're still traveling and they're still in a hotel, and they still have a lot of young guys who are bored to death on the downtime, even if the game takes 8 hours or 10 hours. But it's going to, I think football players are watching how it works in an unguarded, non-bubble situation, and there may be more as we draw closer to the season, assuming there is a season.
Tariq?
Listen, EJ Gaines made the decision to opt out. He's got every right to do that. I think we went over this last week about players making the decision to opt out. I'm all for it if they want to do that. He was on a 1-year deal anyway, and he'll be back probably next year. For Feliciano, it's just rough. I mean, it happens. It was a freak accident that tore his pectoral muscle. He's gonna be out. The Bills are gonna replace him with I believe a Jet too. Brian Winter, I think, is coming in, a former Jet. So he'll be replacing him. So these with injury, COVID has to go under injuries right now. Basically, if you get COVID or you decide you're not going to opt out, you're going to opt out because of COVID, it's just considered an injury. You're gone for the season. That's it. And I understand it and I respect it. Then you have it was a freak accident, non-contact drills. Then you have, we started playing and guys started getting hurt. The depth charts we're going to go through players so quickly in the NFL. The best thing is probably less practice, less injury. Maybe you'll be able to survive and have less of an issue going in. But how do you do that? It's a physical game. You can't practice less. These guys got to get ready to play an NFL game. So I don't know what the Bills are going to do, but they have avoided sort of the COVID problem of players opting out. And I think they're better for it. They have more cohesiveness. We already know that. So let's get the season started. So we'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah, Tariq, I want to ask you if I'm off base here, but I find myself almost subconsciously thinking that with the Bills not having a real serious problem with the COVID defections versus a team, let's say New England, I find myself trying to attach that these guys in Buffalo like the situation. They like what they see. They like who they're playing for. All of this factoring in that they really want to be here. Am I overstating that?
I not only agree with it, I think they believe a lot in Josh Allen. They believe in McDermott. They believe in the camaraderie that they have. The one factor they cannot control, and Josh Allen said this too, you can control what you can control. You can control yourself. You can control your play. You can control your prep. You can't control COVID. You can't control what's going to happen outside of the league. You can't control what other players are going to opt out. But I think it leads to a really good point, Bill, and I think you're right. The fact that guys want to be there, not just so much for the check, but there's a lot of players that have basically said, I'm having my first kid. No, I'm opting out. Like a lot of players have chosen family. And like I said before, I'm not against choosing family. But there are a lot of players that are buying in. a lot of players that want to play. So, we'll wait and see what happens with the Buffalo Bills. Hopefully they can stay injury-free, COVID-free, and the NFL can get going, but we'll wait and see.
This is the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not, is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Here's the Press Box trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Hey, thanks for joining us and welcome back. We are the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko, Tariq Spence, Kevin Oklobzija. Kevin, before I like it or not here, would you please also explain what the heck the NHL is doing? I know they're playing games that matter, but like it or not, how the NHL is doing so far this year.
Well, they have their two hubs, one in Edmonton, one in Toronto, and basically players are there and staff is there, and that's their bubble, and they're not allowing, random walking to whatever they want to go to. I mean, that they've controlled the environment, and that has worked. So far, there are no cases, and it's pretty impressive considering the number of teams that they have playing, and a lot of games. It's actually kind of fun. I mean, you can turn on the TV now almost any time of day, and there's a playoff game going on. So I wasn't sure I'd be into it. Hockey in August, it's a little foreign. It's very foreign. It's like the old Canada Cup, but you didn't get 6 games a day or 7 games a day. But it's an enjoyable summer past the time type of thing. And the NHL so far, I mean, it appears they have done it right, as has the NBA. And it's, I don't know what happens with baseball. I don't think baseball could have really camped in one place. Maybe they could have, but we'll see how that progresses. But give the NHL credit for doing something right here. It appears. Yeah, but
you've got these playoff series, and you've also got this kind of round robin loop. And I just, I went into the NHL.com website trying to research for the show, and I could not find anywhere where they explained exactly what it is they're doing.
Well, I don't have enough time on here. We'll be here till next Sunday.
All right, I guess that's explanation enough.
I like it. I like the fact that they went straight to the playoffs. I know a lot of people are kind of like, well, what are you doing? But it just creates the urgency, and any team that gets eliminated gets to go home. So it's basically, you don't win your series very quickly. It could take a week. You're done, and that just limits the possibility of anybody else getting COVID and creates more opportunity for the remaining teams to play. It's a smart move.
Hey, Tariq, like it or not, The Rock and XFL 3.
Not only do I like it, I love the fact. Now, here's the problem with the XFL. You can't have 25 teams, okay? You've got to limit it down, give an opportunity. You'll have a lot of players that want to show their skills, want to do something during the offseason of the NFL into the regular season of the XFL after college. The Rock has been bankable for a long time. He's working with an investment group. They're working together on this. They're looking to do a bubble, too, which is smart for players at the beginning of 2021. They could do it right. This could really work for a lot of players that are on the fringe, who haven't had a chance to play or have sat out for a while or are coming off of an injury to showcase their talents for the NFL. Can't have a ton of teams. Got to have maybe 10 teams, if that, and a short season because of COVID-19, and then expand from there. But XFL, it sounds like it could work for me. I mean, it's football. People want to bet on sports too. Gives them something else to do.
Yeah, the jury's still out on spring football.
Have we not had enough non-NFL leagues that have failed to know that it's not going to work again? Like, who has the money to just gamble that, yeah, I know, we can make it work? Like, no one else. I get why Donald Trump couldn't get it to work with the USFL. That I understand. But there's been so many other attempts to get this to work. I don't know. I wish I had the money to throw away.
It's the sports content. That's what they're looking for. All they want is sports content. It's in a high demand right now, and people want to see it all year round. Football all year round. Basketball all year round. It's really just because there's so many networks now, Kevin. They just want content. And they're just like, all right, if you got content and it's live sports and it's somewhat entertaining, we'll take it.
And then somebody's going to pay for the advertising.
Yeah, hopefully. This is the Rochester Press Box. Unfinished Business is next.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. It's time for Unfinished Business. And Kevin, why don't you start us off?
Well, it's going to be a very weird fall. It's already been a very weird spring into summer, and it's not going to change from the weirdness standpoint as far as hockey goes. The NHL's back. They're playing in August. They're going to compete for a Stanley Cup. They're going to hand out a Stanley Cup somehow, before this whole summer ends. The Amherst, however, and the rest of the American Hockey League, they get pushed back to at least December 1st or 4th or 5th or somewhere in that, and that's at least. We don't know for sure. So while the NHL is back and finishing the 1920 season, we don't know what's going to happen with the 2021 season. And for Amherst fans and hockey fans in Rochester who want to watch live hockey, it's just going to push things back and make things even a little more strange that they don't get to go to a game until at least December.
For the WNBA's Atlanta Dream owner, Kelly Loeffler, she decided to write a letter to the WNBA basically saying that she doesn't really believe in the Black Lives Matter movement that's going on right now, which angered a number of players in the WNBA to the point where they wanted her out as co-owner of the Atlanta Dream. Well, what happened was she's still in order. So they decided to do the next best thing. This week, WNBA players decided to wear a shirt that had "Vote for Warnock," who is actually the opponent, Reverend Raphael Warnock, that's going against the Atlanta Dream co-owner for the Georgia Senate seat. This is the decision that a number of players were like, where did this all start? Well, Elizabeth Williams, who plays for the Dream, says that Sue Bird from the Seattle Storm came up with the idea, and the other players decided to wear a similar shirt. Now, we've come to a point now where a lot of owners feel as if they're superstars and can make comments and say things. But on the other end of that, you have to be able to take the fire with the comments that you make. You're also not standing by what your players believe, which leads me to believe you just want them to shut up and dribble. That's not the 2020 athlete anymore, and may never be again.
Yeah, it really isn't. So does anyone remember the Chicago Fire or the Philadelphia Bell or my personal all-time favorite, the Shreveport Steamer? These were franchises in the old World Football League, which existed in 1974 and halfway through 1975 before they gave it all up. That was a league that ran its season from July through November. They played 20 games, and Dolphin fans can hate them if they want, because the World Football League dismantled the Miami Dolphins, which were back-to-back Super Bowl champions at the time, taking Warfield and Zonka, among others, and pretty much ended the Miami Dolphin era. 28 years later, the USFL came into existence and the birth of spring professional football. This was a star-driven league. Herschel Walker, Doug Flutie, Reggie White, and Jim Kelly also played in that league. And in a bit of revisionist history, if it weren't for the Houston Gamblers in the USFL, the Buffalo Bills probably would never have gotten to a Super Bowl. Because had Kelly gone right to the Buffalo Bills, they would have been too good in 1984 to have drafted Bruce Smith. As it was, they finished 2-14. They get Smith, Kelly comes back, and the rest is history. Well, since then, we've had the UFL, the AAF, and two versions of the XFL. The Rock Johnson now thinks that the third version of the XFL can succeed. It seems to me that Einstein was once credited with saying that people who do the same thing repeatedly and expect different results are crazy. That might be something worth remembering these days. That is Unfinished Business, and that is our show, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Sorry to take the opposite position on the XFL from you, Tariq. I just think it's just foolish.
Well, you know what? My term for 2020 is time will tell. That's the only thing I can tell you.
I think you probably missed a couple leagues.
Kevin, thank you very much. Good to see you again, man.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you all for joining us. See you next week with the Rochester Press Box.